The Nigerian Army has discarded plans to commence a nationwide exercise, codenamed Operation Positive Identification, which will require Nigerians to show proof of their citizenship to soldiers.
Acting Director, Nigerian Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagir Musa, in a statement, described the report as mischievous. He explained that it emanated from a fictitious group, BRICS Company, which has nothing to do with the Army. On October 8th, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, had announced that the Operation Positive Identification, which is already in force in the Northeast, will be extended to other parts of the country.
The Chief of Army Staff said the exercise was to uncover people with questionable identities and curtail the movement of bandits, kidnappers, armed robbers, ethnic militia, and other criminal elements. Joining us in the studio is a lawyer and managing partner, Olayinka Ola-Daniels and co. Olayinka Ola-Daniels. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, although the Army has decided to discard the idea of the Operation Positive Identification, what came to mind when you heard about this exercise?
Well, to us, we condemned it totally. And we said it should be expunged in totality, not a matter of suspension. And some of us made noise. Probably that's the reason why they had to come back to say, okay, they may have to go the other route. Because really, one, there's no law anywhere in our constitution, in 99 constitution, that give military power to do such. Section 215, subsection 3, gave the exclusive power to the police to make peace and order in the public.
Absolutely.
Now, if at all that is what is required, I think police is enough to do this job, to make peace and order.
If the police is enough, would the Army had come in? Because we have seen some other, exercise that the Army had come in to handle.
Let me help, but by going further to say that section 217, that's subsection 2C, of the same 99 constitution as amended, gave power to Mr. President to order, to direct the military to go into the public when there is what we call insurrection. Meaning, probably the police, they've done their duty, they've done their diligence work, they've gone around to make peace and order, and it's not working. There's revolt, there's pandemonium, there's whatever everywhere in the country. Then Mr. President can direct the military to go and assist the police. So, and here, when we're talking about insurrection, where is the insurrection? Okay, if we talk about the Middle East, the Northeast, but do we have that everywhere in the country?
The mindset was that this bandits and insurgency are moving from the Northeast to other parts of the country because, according to the Army, there's been some intelligence reports. Of course, they have infiltrated some hideouts of the insurgency and seen some evidence. And so they decided, okay, let's have it all across the country.
You know, it's funny. When they're talking about identification and talking about bandits, talking about criminals, kidnappers, these guys are smart. Most of these people we are talking about, they have the identity card. Because you're just going to ask them to identify themselves and they'll bring out their identity card. So how do you achieve that? How do you cop those people? They are smarter. They are criminals. So they have those things. So the purpose may even be defeated.
But initially, this Army spokesman, Colonel Sagir Musa, said this operation was successful in the Northeast.
In the Northeast, where we know that there were issues, where everybody was glaring, they need not tell us what was happening in the Northeast.
Absolutely.
Now, yes, so going right there to do that, probably it worked. And that is a section of the country. So you don't expect the soldiers, because the police were trained to relate and to work with the civilians. The armies were not trained for the civilians. And we know what is, even the so-called police, we still hear about extrajudicial killing.
Absolutely.
Then we now talk about the military that were not trained for that purpose to come into the town when a state of emergency has not been declared in the country. This is absurd. And I think it should just be expunged totally.
Indeed, there is no doubt that we have challenges of insecurity, kidnapping, banditry, and all of that. But when you look at the fact that this issue of Operation Positive Identification, the Army is saying it was successful in the Northeast. Why is there so much outcry in this, in other parts of the region, seeing that it is to check the activities of banditry and kidnappings? Because we have also talked about issues of persons, questionable persons, identities coming into the country, and now we want to identify people. Some have argued that this policy or this exercise by the Army in itself, it's not really bad at all.
Well, I think we should clear this and we should draw the line. In the Northeast, when the bandits and the rest of them operate, it is clear that there was what we call insurrection as quoted by the Nigerian Constitution. That is under the section 217, subsection 2C. So if there is insurrection, yes, it is the duty of the president to direct the military to go and assist the police, meaning that there's also that the police could not handle in the Northeast. But the question is the same thing in all over the country. Don't forget that recently, when a kidnapper was arrested by the Nigerian police, we know how the kidnapper escaped. It was this same military that started shooting at the police that got the kidnapper escaped. So now, if they could do that, it could work there. Why? Because there was insurrection.
How about liaising with the police to ensure that all of these issues that we're trying to tackle?
The Constitution made provision for them to liaise with the police. But the question is there anything in other parts of the country? For instance, let's talk about the West, let's talk about the Southwest and the South generally. Is there any insurrection in the South generally that the police could not handle?
Insurrection can come in different guise. It can come in covert operations. For instance, now we have goods coming from other states into, let's say, for instance, Lagos State. Is that a way for the insurrection to get into Lagos? And are the police equipped to identify this insurgent and bandits and dip them in the butt?
The question is, are the military equipped? Because recently they told us that they don't even have ammunition to fight the war. They don't have ammunition to even fix the internal crisis. Even the military confess that. So if we are talking about it's a total different thing, what happens to the immigration? If it's about identification, if it's about why do we pay immigration services? Why do we pay the police that are supposed to make law and order for its citizens? Why do we pay them if don't forget the Constitution even give exclusive right to the police to do that. Then we should bring in the immigration also to do that. Not the military should be the last thing that should ever think of coming, because one, like I said earlier, they are not trained to relate with the civilians. And we need to be careful. It's not a state of emergency that we're running here. We have to be careful so that we don't put fear into the country. The country is tensed already. We just have to be careful the way we go about things.
Now, in a democracy, it is that when you talk about issues of internal security, it is the responsibility lies with the police. And so people have begun to question the kind of democracy. We celebrated 20 years of democracy this year, and now we are having discussions of this where people had to react before the army had to shelve the idea. One wonders, what does this say of our democracy? Are we really growing?
Well, I'm not going to say that democracy is not growing, but then I think it is pertinent also to state clearly whether we understand the definition of democracy in Nigeria. Because some of the school of thought believe that democracy is a scam. Yes, believe that is a scam. And seriously, I would tend towards that believe
because of
the
issues
school,
like this?
Yeah, because of issues like this. Because if we need democracy to grow, then things like this should not even come to place. Why do I say that? There's now back and forth. The military came up to say this. A time came, they released a press release and call it a fake news. Then they came back to say no, they are still going ahead to do this. Now, is being discarded and they are calling it a mischievous statement or whatever from some quarters, when we had already gone ahead to say, when the populists, when the Nigerians have cried to say, this is not fair on us. Because the Constitution made it clear in Section 41 of the Constitution that gives me the freedom of movement.
Yeah.
And
which is not subject to identification.
Thank you. It did not state. There's no proviso that says that it's subject to identification in that section. Also, Section 35 of the same 99 Constitution gave me liberty.
And that is what democracy is.
But what we see today, do we have all this? Are we really following, are we obeying the constitution of the land? Is the government above the constitution that's supposed to be the norms, that's supposed to be the honogram, that's supposed to be the manual of democracy in Nigeria?
So if we have this kind of situation and the government decides, okay, let's implement it, the president announces it, we're still going to come back to this same discussion.
We're still going to come back to it because the president cannot just announce. The reason why the president will announce such is stated in the Constitution.
Yeah.
But the question now is the reason, are we experiencing insurrection in all parts of the countries? So president is also not, he's not above the law. Whatever Mr. President is doing must be in line. Anything that is a repugnance to the Constitution or to natural justice is no law. If Mr. President decides to wake up tomorrow and declare something that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution, it is null and void.
So if you had to make a suggestion now in terms of checking issues of security that was outlined by the military for coming up with this exercise initially, what would you suggest?
One, the military, in the first place, they shouldn't have even come into this. They should maintain their border and maintain the external security to protect the nation on its own. Okay. Then it should be given, this work should be given to the police to make law and order. Then also immigration service should do their work for people that are not Nigerians, that are coming into the Nigerians through our borders. That is, if things are happening like that, it means that our borders are porous. It means that some people are not doing their duty and their work. Also, NIMC, that is supposed to register people, to issue an identity card to our people, should also come out to reorientate people, to explain to people why they need to, and they should make it easy. Well, I'm happy, a new development, they are going to secondary schools, they are going to different places to get people registered. We need all that because the farmer in the village, some people are in my villages, they don't even understand what identification is all about. They are not registered in any way. They should get these people registered first. Then we can talk about identification. I cannot even go on the road if nothing has happened. Because for a policeman
there's so much you want to say, but we need to let it go at this point. Thank you so much for your time. On TVC Breakfast, Olayinka Ola-Daniels.
Thank you.